This next section of notes is going to cover weather and climate. Weather is going to be usually affected by different air masses moving through an area. An air mass is going to be a large body of air where temperature and moisture content are similar throughout. So when we have two different air masses meet, usually one with warmer temperature, another one with colder temperature, where those two meet, that boundary is known as a front. And a front is going to be that boundary between those different air masses, giving us different densities of air and usually different temperatures as well. And as these fronts move through an area, we usually have some form of precipitation coming through as well, and also a change in the wind direction and temperature. There are three main types of fronts. When we look at the fronts, we're looking at the interaction between those air masses and the predictable weather that is going to result in that location. The first front is going to be a warm front. This is named this because the warm front, or the warmer air, is going to move into an area. This warmer air meets and overrides the colder air. And what this will bring is, as that warm air moves up over the cold air, it starts to cool. And thus we'll have some type of light rain or light precipitation and warmer weather that results in that area because the warm air is coming through, pushing out the cold air. The next type of front is the exact opposite, where we have cold fronts. Cold front is going to be where a cold air mass displaces a warmer air. So it's usually warm outside, and then this cold front comes through. What can result from that is usually large thunderstorms, rain, and snow. As that cold air pushes that warm air up, it's usually going to form those big cumulonimbus clouds, and we'll have some, as that warm air moves up into the atmosphere, it's going to cool, condense, and then form that precipitation. The last type of front is going to be our stationary front. A stationary front is when we have a warm front and a cold front meet, and there's very little movement between the two air masses. This brings usually little rain and warmer temperatures as the warm air eventually will push its way through. So what severe weather can result from these fronts? The first is lightning. Lightning is going to be a discharge of atmospheric electrical energy, and this electrical charge is going to be created by the water droplets as they condense and the ice crystals that form up thunderclouds. The lightning results as a spark jumps between the clouds or between the cloud and earth to equalize the charge. The lightning heats the air so fast that the air actually expands faster than the speed of sound, and the resulting shock wave that's sent out from that is known as thunder. So you usually have lightning followed by thunder. Tornadoes are going to be funnels of high-speed wind. We know about those here in Kansas. They typically are going to form from a front between cold, dry air and warm, humid air. And so in our summertime, you usually have this type of front happening where we have those tornadoes start to form. The funnel cloud is going to be a column of water droplets that will form and go vertically from the cloud down to the Earth's surface. A hurricane is going to be a large rotating tropical storm system. In North America and the Caribbean, they're known as hurricanes. If you go into the Indian Ocean or over there in Asia, they're known as cyclones. And then if you go to the Western Pacific, they are known as typhoons. Hurricanes are powered by energy released as those water droplets, they condense to form the clouds. And what you'll see is at the very center of the hurricane, this is known as the eye of the hurricane, and it's usually a very calm center. However, the surrounding spirals that are sent out from there on arms are going to be usually have very high speeds and damaging winds. There's a difference between weather and climate. Weather changes from day to day, but climate does not change as quickly. So the weather here in Kansas can be sunny and 70 one day, and then the next day it could be cloudy, dreary, and about 40 degrees. That changes day to day. However, the climate is going to be the average weather conditions in an area over a long period of time. Temperatures tend to be higher at the equator due to more sunlight striking the Earth's surface, so that would be an example of climate. And then you could look at the poles as well, as they are usually colder because of the less sunlight that reaches those areas. The Earth's surface features affect the climate, like topography. Topography is going to be the size and the shape of the land surface features of a region. So mountain ranges, valleys, all of that will be part of topography. And the variations in the topography affect the climate. For instance, mountains can trap moisture on one side, giving us a nice lush jungle or forest on one side, and on the other side you could have a desert and dry, because as that clouds and moisture coming from the water, or in this case the ocean, it will start to condense and it won't be able to move over those mountains. You see that a lot with Oregon and those other Pacific side states. On the other side is Las Vegas, and Las Vegas is dry. Broad, flat surfaces like Kansas allow for winds to merge. And so what we have here in Kansas is we have usually a lot of cold fronts and warm fronts moving through, and thus giving us large thunderstorms and even the chances of tornadoes to form. The global climate has changed over long periods of time. Just short changes over a long period of time. These factors that affect the Earth's climate have been volcano eruptions. We talked about those volcanoes that supposedly started the Earth and gave us our atmosphere. Okay, those can actually disrupt the amount of gases in the atmosphere and thus changing the climate in that area. It could also be the shift in the continents. As the continents have moved over time, so has the climate is changed as well. And then as a result of the Earth's tilt, we have different climate changes as well. And that's what gives us our seasons. So we have our summer as we tilt towards the sun, and then as we go away from the sun, we have our winter time. Okay, that's our notes for this week.